Hello, my name is Landon Aldis, and I decided to analyze Dark Souls for my project. Dark Souls was released in 2011 and was made by From Software and published by Bandai Namco. It is rated M for mature by the ESRB for blood and gore, partial nudity, and violence. The game is generally tailored towards non-casual players who are willing to invest the time into the challenge the game provides. Dark Souls is a third-person action RPG and one of the earliest examples of the Souls-like games. Dark Souls is the game which caused this term to be popular and inspired many games with the derivative gameplay styles. However, Demon Souls, also developed by From Software, was the first game to fully realize this style, and Dark Souls is simply the spiritual successor which popularized the subgenre. Dark Souls draws heavy inspiration from the Legend of Zelda series. Many features such as rolling, lock-on, backstepping, as well as the dueling nature of Dark Souls were derived from the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and tweaked to fit the increased challenge Dark Souls strives to achieve. Its esoteric design and occasionally cryptic puzzles are very similar to The Legend of Zelda for the NES. Dark Souls also has drawn comparison from highly challenging games from the NES era such as Ghosts and Goblins and Ninja Gaiden due to its unforgiving and skill-testing difficulty. The core of Dark Souls gameplay is in its combat. The game focuses on a to and fro dueling style by combining dodging, blocking, and attacking. You dodge with rolls, which give you invincibility frames for the majority of the animation, allowing you to move through enemy moves and attack them while their animation finishes. Blocking with a shield or weapon absorbs most damage, but cannot be attacked out of so easily. Attacking with your primary weapon is how you deal damage, but doing so leaves you in an animation, which makes you unable to block or roll, forcing you to time your attacks wisely. All three of these mechanics, rolling, blocking, and attacking, drain your stamina bar, which regenerates automatically after a few seconds of not doing any of them. However, if you focus too much on dodging, blocking, and attacking, your stamina bar will quickly drain to zero, leaving you unable to perform any of these actions and giving your enemy ample opportunity to attack you. Your goal in enemy encounters is to attack your enemies until their health reaches zero, while not making yourself vulnerable to their attacks, lest your health be drained to zero and you die. Fights revolve around managing your stamina and health, finding opportunities to heal and automatically regenerate stamina when your opponent is attacking, and also knowing when to go in and deal some damage. As such, it's important to try and find out different weapons as you collect them in your journey across the world of Lordran. Finding a weapon that balances both speed, stamina usage, and damage, while also choosing one which has a moveset akin to your liking. All of this creates a dynamic within the game world, which makes you both fear and respect the world. You never know when an enemy will pop up around the corner, and you are prompted to move slowly throughout the world to avoid potential damage. While the combat itself is engaging, it is able to fully immerse the player when combined with the dark fantasy aesthetic as well as the intense sound design. General areas in combat with enemies is largely devoid of a soundtrack, letting you focus solely on the sound of clanging metal when blocking, the shuffling of your armor as you walk and roll, and the slicing of flesh as you attack or take damage. Combine this with the bloody and/or elemental effects when attacking, the flash of metal when blocking, and the very deliberate animation of attacks from you and the enemies. It all draws you into the back and forth system of combat, making every action feel important. This is why fans consider the game challenging, but fair. It is clear about showing you what you are doing, and in turn helps you understand what moves you may be performing inadequately. All of this combines together in the boss battles, which are dignified by their large health bars across the bottom of the screen, as well as their large arena gated by mysterious fog walls. All bosses have their own unique soundtrack, which increases the intensity and sets each one apart from the other fights you've gone through before. The animations here are larger and more telegraphed, but the bosses also hit harder and come continuously to pressure you to find the right time to heal, attack, defend, and dodge. The way I play Dark Souls queerly is by focusing on exploration and wandering around the world. Though I talked about Dark Souls' combat primarily, even when discussing the aesthetics, the world itself is quite enjoyable to walk around and attempt to understand. With the rich lore explained only in extensive item descriptions, character dialogue, and brief cutscenes, it's fun to look around and wonder about what the world was like before it had begun to die out. Your dynamic with the game world simultaneously shifts and stays the same here. It becomes less of a world to fear and more of a world to enjoy in its dark wonder. However, you still must respect it, as if you don't, death awaits. However, if you take your time to look around, you'll come to appreciate the aesthetics of the world. the grandiosity of the Golden Anorlando, or the rickety swampland of Blighttown. Even though the combat is exciting, with many different options to defeat your opponent, sometimes the most enjoyable mechanic is just moving that camera around.